52-year-old former bus driver suspected of abducting and imprisoning 3 women inside his Cleveland home for almost a decade. He's already been charged with several counts of kidnapping and rape, but police say Ariel Castro may be guilty of much worse, murder, allegedly for causing one of the victims to suffer several miscarriages by beating and starving her each time she became pregnant. Does the law allow it? Joining us now to talk about it, Robert Schalk and Doug Burns, both are defense attorneys and former prosecutors. Gentlemen, good to see you. There is in Ohio, I looked it up, a feticide law, but it only carries 2 to 8 years.
Right.
But interestingly enough, Doug, the Ohio legislature revised their laws for aggravated murder, and they changed it to this. Take a look at this up on the screen. No person shall purposely cause the death of another or the unlawful termination of another's pregnancy while committing kidnapping. And if you can prove it, that's aggravated murder, death penalty.
I looked at the same exact statute, 2903, and that's right. If you unlawfully terminate the pregnancy of another, it can be a murder. And the reason that that's so important, obviously, is because it's hard to get the death penalty unless there's a homicide, although there are a bunch of federal laws that provide for the death penalty for terrorism and so forth, but they've never been tested in the Supreme Court. The point is, it's interesting. Some law professors, real quick, were saying, well, how are you going to show causation? This has 0 jury appeal, and if they charge him with that, the jury will punch him right out.
You show causation.
Right.
By the testimony of the mothers.
And who's going to refute it? He's not going to testify. His lawyer would be crazy to put him on the stand. You can't let him dictate what he's going to say. And these women are going to come in, and the jury is going to hang on every single word that they say.
But, Robert, isn't the lawyer going to say, wait. He did allow the birth of one child, the 6-year-old daughter, in, the kiddie little swimming pool inside. Does it make sense that he would intentionally kill the unborn of the other woman?
Well, we don't know what these women are saying yet, other than they're obviously happy to be back home with their families. But the amount
that's
of
going to be the argument,
of course. But
he allowed one birth. Why would he kill unborn?
Of course. But again, what are they going to be able to put on that's going to refute what these women are going to say?
Doug, there is precedent for this in Ohio. 2009.
Right.
Ohio teenager accused of attacking his pregnant girlfriend and killing the unborn child after she refused to have an abortion. He was convicted of aggravated murder.
Well, 36 states, by the way, have what you described as infanticide, however you had put it, feticide. 36 states have it.
Yeah, but not murder, death penalty.
Well, they have it as murder. And the reality is that this defendant is the poster child for the death penalty. You have to be kidding me. And if for no other reason than that he can't harm anybody else, even while in prison, for example.
Robert, if you kill an unborn child in Ohio with the mother's permission, it's legal. It's okay. If you do it without her permission, it is arguably murder. Again, a defense attorney is going to say, wait a minute, this is totally backwards and confused. The unborn child is only a life if the mother says so. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, can you really do that?
Well, obviously, you're talking on both sides of your mouth in the state of Ohio right now, because you have a situation where you can do one thing legally and the other thing illegally, and we can kill you if you do it this way.
Right.
I mean, we shouldn't be surprised in Ohio. If you actually look up the stats, Ohio, it was the 4th leading state in using the death penalty, only behind Arizona, Oklahoma, and Texas. And they have 147 people on death row, the 7th most in the country. So you can see that they're a state that's not afraid to use it.
Doug, you go back in American history, and I'm not suggesting that we need to go back to when, you steal a horse, you get hung, and then you get tried afterwards. But kidnapping and rape both used to be capital cases.
No, great point, number one. And number two, of course, it's so interesting to hear commentators pointing out, and they're so right. We used to have, while it sounds barbaric, firing squads, gas chamber, hangings publicly in the square.
Amendment.
So the reality, a lot of people are arguing that it's too lenient to simply put somebody to sleep. Why don't you put them in a cage, no books, no magazines, solitary confinement, etc. That's probably harsher.
All right, gentlemen, we got some breaking news on the other side of the break, so we've got to cut this a little bit short. Robert Schalk and Doug Burns, thanks very much.
My pleasure, Greg.
Well, it seems every day brings new questions about the deadly terror attack in Benghazi. The latest on the administration's revised talking points. Plus, Major General Robert Scales joins us live with why he says he no longer knows who to trust. And Dennis Rodman taking advantage of his friendship with Kim Jong-un, why he is planning a return trip this summer to North Korea.